Life in the UK today feels like a story of two different worlds. On one hand, we hear about progress, technology and wealth, but on the other, millions of us are facing a daily struggle that seems to go completely unnoticed by those in power. It's a struggle for the basics, a safe journey to work, clean streets for our kids to play on, and enough money to put food on the table. It feels like the gap between the promises we hear and the reality we live is getting wider every single day. This isn't just about politics or economics. It's about people. It's about whether we are building a country that cares for everyone or just a select few. The health of our nation is tied directly to the health of our environment and our communities. You can't separate them. When our rivers are polluted and our air is dirty, it's our health that suffers. When public services are cut back, it is ordinary families who pay the price. Yet, it seems our leaders are often too busy with their own arguments to see the quiet crisis unfolding in our towns and cities. They talk about big international deals and grand plans for the future, but they seem to miss the simple things that make life livable for the people they are meant to serve. This isn't about luxury, it's about dignity. We need to start asking some hard questions. Why are we letting this happen? Why are the basic needs of our communities being ignored? It is easy to feel powerless, to think that things will never change. But change always starts with seeing the problem clearly and talking about it. It starts with understanding that a polluted river in the north of England is connected to the poorly made school uniform a child wears in London. It's all part of the same system, a system that is currently failing us. We must look beyond the headlines and see the real-life impact of these decisions on our neighbours, our families and our future. This essay is about pulling back the curtain on these issues. It's about giving a voice to the frustrations felt in bus queues, on factory floors and in school playgrounds across the country. It's a look at how weak leadership and misplaced priorities are damaging our environment and hurting the most vulnerable people in our society. We will explore the real-world consequences of this neglect, from the struggles of a single parent to the long-term damage to our natural world. Because if we don't start paying attention to these problems now, we risk losing the very fabric of a fair and caring society. Let's start with something as simple as getting from A to B. For so many people, public transport isn't a choice, it's a necessity. But what is the reality of that journey? It often starts at a bus stop with no shelter from the wind and rain, where you feel unsafe after dark. Then if the bus even shows up, you're paying a fortune for a ticket just to sit on a dirty seat breathing in stale air. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's a daily source of stress and indignity for millions of workers, students and pensioners who rely on these services. It's a clear sign that the basic infrastructure of our country is not being looked after. Then you step off the bus and walk down your local high street. You're met with overflowing bins, litter blowing down the pavement, and public spaces that feel forgotten and unloved. These aren't just ugly sights. They are a message. They tell us that our communities are not a priority. Dirty streets and neglected parks affect our mental health, making us feel like no one cares about where we live. For children, it means there are fewer safe and clean places to play. This environmental decay isn't happening in some remote wilderness. It's right on our doorsteps, a constant reminder of a system that is failing to provide a decent quality of life. Now think about our children, who are bearing the brunt of this neglect in ways we can't ignore. We send them to school in uniforms, often made from cheap, plastic-based materials that don't keep them warm in winter. These materials, like polyester, are a product of the fast fashion industry, which pollutes our planet at an alarming rate. At the same time, thousands of children are going to school hungry because their families can't afford a decent meal. Yet the support for free school meals isn't keeping up. We are failing our kids on the most basic levels, keeping them warm, fed, and providing them with a clean environment to grow up in. On top of all this, finding a decent job has become harder than ever. People are facing a system that seems stacked against them. New laws can make it easier for companies to let people go, creating a constant sense of insecurity. And now technology like artificial intelligence is being used to sift through job applications. This means a computer program can decide your fate, often rejecting you before a human even sees your name. This creates huge barriers for people who don't fit a perfect mold, making it even tougher for ordinary workers to find stable employment and support their families. The consequences of this widespread neglect are not abstract. They are deeply personal and hurt real people every single day. Take a working parent, for example. Their daily life becomes a battle. They have to leave for work extra early just in case the unreliable bus doesn't arrive on time. They worry about their children walking home past poorly lit streets and alleyways. After a long day, they come home to a mountain of bills, with the cost of living soaring while their wages stay the same. This constant pressure takes a huge toll, not just financially, but on their mental and physical health. It is a cycle of stress that is being repeated in households all over the UK. For children, the impact is even more devastating and can last a lifetime. A child who is cold at school because their uniform is thin and cheap cannot concentrate on their lessons. A child who is hungry cannot learn. This isn't just a bad day, it's a barrier to their entire future, creating an inequality of opportunity from the very start. When we fail to provide these basic necessities, we are essentially telling a whole generation of kids that their potential doesn't matter. This neglect is stealing their future right from under their noses, while leaders are distracted by other things. And what about our environment? The damage here is just as severe. The choices being made are leading to a crisis that affects us all. The news about raw sewage being pumped into our rivers like the Irwell Valley isn't just a headline. It means our natural water sources are being poisoned. This pollution kills wildlife and makes these areas unsafe for our communities. The fast fashion economy, which gives us those cheap school uniforms, is a major cause of this, dumping chemical waste and microplastics into our water. It's a clear example of how putting corporate profit before people and the planet leads to irreversible destruction that we all have to live with. The most frustrating part is the silence from the top. While families struggle and our environment suffers, our leaders seem to be caught in a bubble, disconnected from the real world. They argue in Parliament and talk about economic growth, but they fail to address the foundational problems that are making life unbearable for so many. This isn't just poor management. It feels like a deliberate choice to ignore the inconvenient truths of everyday life in Britain. The focus remains on protecting the interests of the wealthy and powerful, while the basic rights and needs of ordinary people are pushed to the side, unseen and unheard. We cannot continue down this path. The problems we face, from unsafe streets and failing buses to polluted rivers and child poverty, are not separate issues. They are all symptoms of the same disease, a failure of leadership that prioritizes power and profit over people and the planet. Real change doesn't come from empty promises or clever political slogans. It comes from listening to the needs of ordinary people and taking bold, decisive action to fix the systems that are broken. We need leaders who understand that their primary duty is to ensure the well-being of every citizen, not just the privileged few. So what does that look like in practice? It means investing properly in our public transport, creating a network that is affordable, reliable, and safe for everyone. It means launching a national effort to clean up our streets and revitalize our public spaces, giving communities a sense of pride and belonging. For our children, it means ensuring every school uniform is warm and well made, and that no child ever has to try and learn on an empty stomach. This can be achieved through expanding free school meal programs and setting better standards for the clothes our kids wear. These are not radical ideas. They are the basic building blocks of a decent society. We also need to create a fairer job market. That means strengthening workers' rights and regulating the use of artificial intelligence in hiring to ensure that people are judged on their skills and potential, not by a biased algorithm. It means holding corporations accountable for the environmental damage they cause, with real penalties for those who pollute our air and water. We must shift our focus from a fast-fashion, disposable culture to one that values sustainability and ethical production. This protects not only our environment, but also the rights of workers both here and around the world. Ultimately, the future of the UK depends on the choices we make today. We can either continue to let our communities and our environment decline, or we can demand a new direction. A direction where the health of our rivers is as important as the health of the stock market, where a child's right to be warm and well-fed is non-negotiable, where everyone has access to a good job and a safe, clean place to call home. This is the real measure of a successful nation. It's time for a change that is fair, just, and sustainable for all of us.